What is your name and job title?
My name is Sonia McAfee, and I am a dental assistant instructor for the Northeast Independent School District.
Cool. Why did you choose this career?
I choose this career because I was in the military for 20 years, and I had decided when I retire, I wanted to do something different besides working in a clinical atmosphere. So I decided to go back and teach and give back to young people what I learned over the last 10 years when I was in the military.
Okay, very nice. Did you ever change your major in college?
Yes, I changed it 5 times.
Wow.
I was confused back then when I was younger. So I started off, my freshman year, I started off with psychology, then I went to social work, then I went to teaching, I went through nursing, and then I did pre-pharmacy. And so I was like, okay, I got to get it together because I can't keep changing majors every year. So that's when I decided to focus on dental.
I think a lot of people get this wrong in their undergraduate career, that, they really don't find their niche until they've already graduated. What would you say, what made you know this was the career for you?
Well, you know how people say, I have to go to work, I got to go to my job. Well, when I go to work or come to my job, I feel happy about it. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what today brings. And so it's not like going to a job, like for instance, the commercials, time to make the donuts. I made the donuts. It didn't feel like that. So I got joy out of standing in front of a class and educating them on root canals or educating them on oral surgery or just showing the different sides of dentistry that nobody knew about, like cosmetics, And so I just like, okay, this is what I enjoy doing. I love it. I don't feel like I'm tired. I don't feel like I have to make myself go. And so that's why I was like, this is for me.
So I'm guessing this career option requires a lot of time with students outside of the classroom. Yes. How do you handle that when you really enjoy a job like dental assisting?
So with me, you always have to prep before you educate someone. You always have to make sure you read the material, read everything that you need to know in order to educate someone on the subject. And I figure I always have to pour into myself before I can pour into others. And that's how I prep. I read the chapter, I do notes, I create games to help with the learning process, just to make it fun for everybody. Because you can sit up there and do a PowerPoint for hours and you will lose half of your class. So I try to be as entertaining as I can when I'm doing, letting people know. And so I try to think of things and stories to make them exciting so I can keep my audience engaged.
Okay. And so what would you say is a regular basis? Like, what do you do in a normal day when teaching your students?
So like if I'm gonna start a chapter, I usually read over it for the weekend and I come in the next day on Monday and I prepare reviews for them, like make copies of reviews, make sure they have a PowerPoint. I also email them on Google Classroom and let them know that, hey, this is what we're going to be talking about. Be prepared. I always give them heads up that what we're going to go into the next chapter and what it's going to be about. So they'll, be aware of everything.
Okay. Very nice. Well, I'm guessing, let's get to the point. What are the important skills you need for this job?
Well, you do need a lot of science. Because not only do we work on just the head and the neck, we also have to know what kind of problems can cause the whole entire body. So anatomy and physiology is one. You really need to know some chemistry because we deal with a lot of materials as far as making temporary crowns, using different types of cements, just different types of things, impressions. So we need to know like consistency, the measurements. So you need to know that, and that's a part of chemistry. Physics, dealing with the x-ray machines, knowing what radiation is about. Also, and also, like I said, just, knowing the skeletal system, knowing the head, the neck, how the brain functions, everything. Your nerves, because we deal with nerves when we're anesthetizing a patient. So you need to know your science Also speech. And English, because we're always talking to people, so you need to know how to talk with people, how to respond to certain things. So psychology is a major thing you will need, because we can't just overreact when somebody else is overreacting. So we always have to be calm and cool and collect when we're dealing with patients. Those are some major classes that you really need. We also write in charts, so we want to make sure we know how to write a complete sentence that makes sense. Also know how to spell words. Medical terminology. You want to make sure you know the terms that you're writing. You got to understand this stuff before you can actually tell a patient that this is going on with them. So you need to know your medical terminology. Pretty much
All
that's
right.
it. Yeah.
So, in one sentence, what would you tell undergraduate students to do if they want to pursue the dental field?
First of all, I think we all need to go and check out the field. Go and do some shadowing, hands-on if you can. Just call an office and let them know that, hey, I am going into this field. I want to know what it's about. Because we can study, and be prepared, but once you get into that situation or that procedure or whatever, and you see what's going on, and you're like, wait a minute, I spent, 8 years of my life, and I'm like, I'm not ready for this. So it's good to go out and look at and check it out first. It's like buying a house. You go and you look at the house and you check it out. This is where I want to spend the rest of my life. This is what I want to spend the rest of my life doing, like you would in dentistry. So that's why I say you always want to check out the field, do a little research on it, and then go from there. But studying is important. You need to study. You need to get good grades, because you are competing with tons of people that want to be in dentistry. So, it's like hand in hand. You're studying, but you always want to know the knowledge and know what's going on and how you feel when you're around this type of career. And that's what I would tell somebody.
All
Check
right.
it out
Thank you
first.
so much, Miss McAfee.
You're welcome.